Hello everybody, my name is Manus Magnusson and I'm sitting here on actually the National Day of Sweden, and I'm sitting outside and I'm enjoying the sun, and I hope that everybody else in Sweden is enjoying our National Day in the same way as you in Russia and other countries do when you enjoy your national days. I am sending greetings to you now at the conference from myself and Dr. Lia Kalinikova, and together we have been working for several years with communicative disabilities, augmentative and alternative communication and other things, and now we are representing this new organization for non-governmental and international cooperation in the fields of assistive technology, communicative disabilities, etc. And together with Caritas and Herzen University, and of course the Institute of Early Intervention in St. Petersburg, who is really the pioneer in the field of disability and international cooperation with Russia, I wish all of you now a very enjoyable conference. This field of communicative disabilities, and especially the highly specialized field of augmentative and alternative communication, is a relatively young field of clinical, educational, research and developmental field, which originally started as cooperation between Canada, United States, United Kingdom and Sweden way back in the 1980s and so on. And it has resulted, for instance, in a big organization called ISAC, International Society of Augmentative and Alternative Communication, and in lots of different conferences, like the biennial World Conference, which ISAC is organizing every second year. We have been working now, Dr. Kalinikova and I, with a lot of different projects together with colleagues, friends in Belarus, Ukraine, and different parts of Russia, and during the last few years also with colleagues in Georgia, in Georgia, and in Moldova. And what have we been doing then? Well, for instance, we have been arranging a big international conference on augmentative and alternative communication, which was the first one in that field in Russia, and that was in 2009 in Arkhangelsk, and it was a number in a series of international conferences which were started by Dr. Sofia Kalman in Hungary several years ago, and which last year was situated in Warsaw in Poland, and next year will be in Kiev in Ukraine. Now we are representing mostly universities, Dr. Kalinikova, our colleagues and myself, and it means that a lot of our cooperation is focusing on research-oriented work. For instance, I said this about conferences where you develop new knowledge. But we have also tried to transfer reports and books to support the transferring of these into the Russian language. And one example of this is this book, which is called Signs, and represents one part of the augmentative and alternative communication field, where you work with a different way of expressing your language, and that is through using your body, using your signs. And this book was edited and partly translated, and we have now it available in Russian. And we also were involved in the transferring of a communication assessment system called the Matrix Communication System, which originates in the United States, and where we cooperated with Oregon Health and Science University and Dr. Charity Rowland there, and this system was transferred into Russian. And if you want more information about this system, you can talk with Mrs. Victoria Ryskina, who is the formal president of our organization and who is present now at this conference. Our special greetings to her. Other things we have been doing, it is trying to initiate together with our colleagues in especially Belarus, but also in Ukraine and Russia, resource centers of knowledge and development in the field of AAC, that is the abbreviation in English for augmentative and alternative communication. And a lot of our work has been supported by Swedish as well as Russian and international sources, and if I may say so, has been quite successful. So for instance, in Minsk, in Belarus now, there is a real center focusing on AAC, working under the leadership of the Department of Special Education at the Maxim Tank University, which is an educational university in Minsk. And we have similar efforts going on in Kiev, where the Dragomanov University, also an educational university, is trying to develop such a resource center. And by the way, this Dragomanov University will be the organizer of a big international AAC conference in Kiev in 2013, which will be a conference following in the steps of Arkhangelsk and Warsaw, and of course originally in the series of conferences started by Dr. Kalman in Hungary. What else to mention about our work? Well, we are specialists in this field. Myself, I represent in my Swedish work the University of Stockholm, the Department of Special Education, where I am a university lecturer, a PhD in special education. And if anybody would be interested in reading more about my earlier research, I wrote my dissertation once upon a time about the language or the language disabilities of people with aphasia, which is one of the most interesting areas of interest in the field of augmentative and alternative communication. And this dissertation is actually available in English and electronically. If anybody would like to read it, just drop me a line. And Dr. Kalinikova, she is working at a university in Arkhangelsk called the Northern Arctic Regional Federal University, and which is a big federal university, and she is working at the Department of Social Work there, and she is also part-time researcher at Uppsala University, the Center of Russian Studies there. We are very grateful for the opportunity to participate in this way at your conference, even though as you can understand, it feels a little bit strange to be talking like this into a camera and not having the pleasure of seeing all of your faces here at the conference, but nevertheless, we wish you the very, very best, and we hope to meet you in the future and to go on working on the road that we have started, but hopefully also to extend our work so that it will include more and more of you, so that in the end we will help each other to bring forward the needs and support the needs of the people who are the main target group of this area, the people who have difficulties in communication, and so severe difficulties that they really need different or supportive methods to be able to participate in society's communication, to be full-fledged members of our different societies in the world, to really become members of what we in Sweden like to talk very much about, the democratic and inclusive society. And finally then, another thing, if you would be interested to read more, is this conference report from the conference I mentioned in Arkhangelsk, which by the way was in 2009. And this report is also available electronically if anybody would like to drop us a line and ask us about it. And part of this report is in English, part of it is in Russian. All the very best greetings from our days here, and excuse us for not being with you physically, but there is another conference calling for you at exactly the same time, and that conference is up in the far north and focusing on sustainable development of the Barents region, which also involves northwestern Russia. Bye bye!